No sound again. Aye, aye, aye. Okay, well, now we're back. Everything's going a little bit pear-shaped today. Yeah, sorry. Sorry about that. Everything is going wrong. Okay, but actually, the most important thing is going perfectly right, namely Vienna's game, in which she's already completely winning. What I was saying was, it's actually pretty crazy that, or basically um, how smoothly this is going, because her opponent is rated 1600 almost, so it's not like a bad player, but this game she didn't play well. And this is funny because Diana always, um, or well, not always, but in the past, when she was much younger, she used to play the Benko Gambit, which is what we were going for today. The plan was obviously c5, d5, b5, going into the Benko, but that is not what her opponent did. Her opponent played what we will call the chicken way. A bit of a scared way. We have guests here as well. People walking around. Nee, mein Computer einmal irgendwie abgestürzt und kommt. Yeah, anyway, by the way, Dr. Zayas, yeah, third game with the black pieces in a row. And if she plays tomorrow again, she's going to have a fourth game with the black pieces as well. So 4 black games in a row, bit weird. It's because they're alternating substitutes, and she's board 4, and when Evia's playing, she's board 3. And when Evia's playing, she's board 3. So she's just been alternating and always getting black, which is a bit unfortunate. In the men's team, that wouldn't actually have happened because the men's team somehow alternated sides. They got the same board allocation 2 rounds in a row. So Baburin, for example, has played black twice in a row, even though he's been board 1 both times. But yeah. Nee, ist international. Internationales.
Okay, kann groß sein, aber die anderen kann ich viel Glück haben. Was spielt die?
Jetzt gerade. Das ist hier gerade Kommentar.
Okay, nee, dann machen. Wollen wir spielen.
Anyway. So Diana's opponent didn't end up taking the pawn. Played knight of 3, which is not a good way to decline the gambit. If you want to decline the Benko, well, I mean, this is not even an anti-Benko move yet. Like knight of 3 is basically too soon. I mean, here most people would still play the Benoni, right? Or maybe not most people, but definitely this is still a position where b5 isn't mandatory. But if you want to decline the Benko, I personally like doing that. I like queen to c2 after b5. The idea being that when white takes, or when black takes on c4, my goodness, today there's a lot of things happening somehow. When black takes on c4, we're going to play e4. Definitely don't take back. We're going to let our bishop recapture, and then we're going to put our knight on c4 eventually, which is a very good square. And we're going to put our knights on c3 and c4, and that's going to be a good setup. Generally, that's sort of the deal. And otherwise, you also have many lines where you get very good attacking chances against the king side, while the queen side counterplay isn't as pronounced as it is in the Benko. Although objectively, of course, the Manko isn't really good, but I personally find it a bit annoying to play against. You really got to be a little bit active, and yeah. Anyway, not what happened. So this is how the game went. Knight back to f3. Also, what we said, not a great move. Probably knight b5 would have been more sensible. And now, I mean, we can already just look at the development. White sort of bunkering in, having to go back with the knight. Black having all the space in the position. White having weaknesses that are not easily defended, because if you want to defend g2, you would either have to play g3 or drop your bishop back. Either one is a very bad solution. Now, yeah, Diana took with the d knight, which is probably right as well. You're gonna, invite your rooks in to the open file. You're gonna have to probably play a3 at some point. Hey Cutford, how's it going? Anyway, you probably have to play a3 at some point as white. Otherwise, your queen's gonna get kicked around a little bit, and you need to keep contact with c2. You're gonna end up very stuck. Yeah, but this position is, of course, very much lost for Diana's opponent. So let's look at some of the other games. Generally, this round should be a little bit more straightforward than the last one. Okay, Trisha against Azumi Sakai. Okay, the anti-Nimzo. And we're going into the QGD kind of transposition, and the Rogozin, I think. Okay, pretty normal. A6 is interesting. Not really sure why we play A6. Something tells me that this isn't quite the right plan in this position, but busy with applying to jobs. What jobs are you applying for, Cutford? What jobs are you seeking? Okay, I mean, this looks fairly decent from white. So it looks like Diana definitely having a much easier time. I like white's position here, to be honest. Eventually she should get the tempo out of the light square bishop, but somehow I think the a6 move wasn't quite right, and now you're going to struggle a little bit with your development. This bishop, I mean, is she going to try to play e5 at some point? Can't really do too easily. You'd have to take on c3 first, but all doesn't sound massively appealing. But okay, knight c3 maybe, and then e5 could be a thing. Anything remote. Okay. Well, okay, what kind of remote thing are you going to be doing? Like some business stuff? What did you study again? I forgot. I will admit that I forgot what you were studying. Anyhow. So that's what she did. Knight c3 and e5, which makes sense to me. Okay, so that doesn't look right, by the way. I think you should either play rook e1 or rook d1 maybe, or rook c1 even, but like definitely taking doesn't seem right, because we're just giving away our advantage with white, I think. Now we're going to just have some trades in the center. But okay, the other part of it is, of course, it's not going to be super trivial to win this as black either. Like, your Trisha is, of course, much stronger, but Okay, another thing is Trisha's down on time by 20 minutes. This position is not one that you're like, yes, I will win these ones. Industrial engineering, I guess that means, and management. Business marketing analyst related job. Cool. Okay, so I mean, you kind of have to take, like, I don't know what you're thinking about. You kind of have to take, and then queens get traded or not. I mean, let's just say the queens get traded, because that's probably what white will do reasonably. And I mean, technically, there shouldn't be any way that you win this, right? Like, white's going to be up a tempo. To take the open file. You're going to take the D file, you're going to take the C file, you're going to make black play some moves, you're going to put your pawns on dark squares. I don't know, like definitely doesn't seem. Oh yeah, we have a flourishing job market in chat, by the way, Cutfer. So if you if you are looking, maybe someone's offering. Anyway, I don't even know what that means. Validation. Also, I'm afraid I don't know if you were already tuning in earlier, but my computer just shut down earlier. I'm just gonna lift it up. It's getting hot, even though it's on a hard table, so I don't know. By the way, Cutford, aren't people always looking like desperately for engineers and that kind of stuff? Aren't you very much in demand? So let's think about this position. I mean white is probably slightly better. I mean black, the only advantage that black could claim is having the 3-on-2 majority on the queen side, which, you know, you could make something of that if your opponent really isn't careful. But objectively, this wasn't a great opening for Trisha. Let's just say that it's not what she wanted. A very dry sort of position with where she's equal or slightly worse. Anyway, I'm sure Trisha will find a way to make something happen, but definitely not the greatest or most auspicious start. But okay, let's see. Lara playing board 2 today, Alice resting. Diana was saying that she wanted to play today, even though that means she is getting another black, which is a bit frustrating. And she's gonna get another black tomorrow as well, unless they're resting someone again. There's 5 in the team, so it's Trisha, Alice, Lara, Diana, and Evia. Evia so far on the only perfect score, 1 out of 1, and everybody else at least dropping half a point. So technically Evia top performer. Let's see if she can keep it up today, but first we're going to look at Lara's game. Of course, Lara, our resident Catalan player. Catalan only for her. Okay, well, except if someone plays the Dutch, then you're not going to play that. Okay, so we got a stone wall. Let's see what kind of plan Lara goes for. So she goes for the knight h3 thing, which I'm not sure if this is so much what I would go for against the stone wall. I like these plans of playing b3, bishop a3, trading off the bishops, getting your knights to f3 and d3, jumping in, and when black jumps in, you jump in with the g knight and play f3, then eventually set up a break. Oh, Cuthbert being recruited to Ireland. That would be something, you know. Cuthbert and Limerick. You could come and then we could play the Boulder Cup together or various tournaments in Ireland when we're over. Would be fun. Anyway, so this is what, well, she went for a different kind of approach. Also, of course, same idea. You want to trade off your dark square bishop because it's going to be your bad bishop. Black's good bishop. The whole thing about the stone wall, the whole idea for white in this setup is you want to play against this weak bishop that is sort of blocked in by all of your pawns that you put on light squares. That's why I'm searching for remote jobs so I can travel around and play FIDE tournaments. Really, Catford? That's funny. That's good. Are you, well, how many tournaments have you played? Are you like in the, are you on the chess grind or what? What's the deal? Or are you trolling me? I'm saying you would never choose a job based on chess. Which I wasn't suggesting, by the way. I was just saying that would be fun for you to be in Ireland. Desperate for tech writers. So Arrowhead, what do tech writers do? Do you like write manuals or do you write, you know, do you do tech advertising? Look at our great machine. We have the best machines. They work all day long and don't ask for higher wages, or what are we doing? Anyway, interesting game here by Lara. Rook c1. Yeah, makes sense. Manual stocks. Okay, interesting. Wrote the test plans. Okay. So what you're saying is when we talk about technical writing, we're not looking for sophisticated prose, but more like, not pros by the way as in professionals, but prose as in, you know, beautiful language that tells a story. As in not marketing is basically what I'm saying. Okay, anyway, I like Lara's position, not least because she's playing against the Dutch. I think the position itself is fairly standard. No games found. Let's see what was the last book move. So the last book move was 92. This is still thing black has played here, knight bd7 or e6. That makes sense because actually bishop p7 is kind of a nonsense move because what are you doing with your bishop? You don't need to develop it. You can't develop it. It's not a thing. b6 as an idea at least gives, you know, the bishop some potential scope, but actually playing bishop d7 doesn't make the bishop better. It makes it worse. It's sort of anti-developing. In fact, it's like pseudo development that's actually hindering your development. not only is it hindering the development of the bishop, slightly paradoxically, but also it's hindering the development of the knight. So bishop d7, very, very suspicious move. I was going to say a different word, but suspicious it is. Very suspicious move by Lara's opponent. And now she's going, okay, well, I guess this is a plan in some of these positions where you put a lot of pawns on the light squares. Just maneuver your bishop around and put it on the king side somewhere. But I don't think it's necessarily too great here. But okay, I mean, it's a plan. It's a plan. Still a suspicious plan, but a plan. So it could be worse. Okay, so anyway, I like what she's doing. And okay, let's quickly check on Diana's game again before going into Evya's. Okay, rook d8, yeah, makes sense. I mean, this is this is a very, 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 very painful game so far for Diana's opponent. It's 13 moves in, and she's just been completely lost for a while already. So better bad plan than no plan. Yeah, I kind of agree. At least she maybe has a plan somewhere. At least as long as she doesn't just stop in the middle of it. So she actually does need to follow through on it. Otherwise, the bishop's going to be like similarly useless as it would have been on d7 or c8. But yeah. Anyway, Diana still, of course, very much completely winning. And let's look at Evya. Evya, what has she played? I see an f4 on the board, but let's go back. F4 always bad, by the way. Whenever you play it, bad. Whenever you don't play it, it would have been a good move. Okay, so c4, c6. Interesting. It's like a Caro-Kann against the English. Yeah, it's actually exactly like a Caro-Kann against the English. Okay, b3 can. I mean, that can't be right. Evya. Just for the record, b3 must be a terrible move. Just very, very, very bad, right? I mean, like d4, and black must be a lot better already. A little bit like in Diana's game, where what are you going to do here? Are you going to put your knight on a4? I mean, thank you. You gave your bishop a square to go to, but it's a bad square. Your knight's very silly up here. So definitely a very, very bad opening move there from Evya. But on the bright side, her opponent didn't play d4, so we get another chance. We definitely need to play d4 now. We definitely should play d4. Stop d4 because you know, that's we need to prevent d4. Yeah, she plays knight f3. I'm afraid d4 still better for black. Quite a bit better. Okay, opponent again didn't play it. It's kind of weird. But okay, I guess her opponent is 1100, so maybe it's not that weird. Bishop g2 and e5. Okay, I mean, still, honestly, still it looks sort of nice for black, I would say. You need to be a little bit careful about, you know, pressure on d5, which is even more of a reason to play d4. But okay, Evya, then now she does take in the end. Now black does have a nice center, can't be denied. Although we do have the potential, of course, with the setup to attack it. at some point. Oh, you just doubled down? Wait, what? Once I get rich somehow, I'll invite you to commentate my OTB games against my friend. I'll get DDT boards that can be broadcast to Legions. Let's go! I'll do that. Gladly. You don't have to get rich, I'll just do it. Bedford. You just need to get rich enough to buy a DDT board. Hey, Dark Poison. What happened in Diana's game? Well, we can quickly show. Actually, let's just quickly finish going through Evia's game. Our trusty board for today. Evia, as I said earlier, only member of Team Ireland that has been undefeated. Well, actually, not Team Ireland, but Team Ireland women. Actually, Connor, well, has not dropped a point, I should say. Connor is also on 2 out of 2 for the team, which is pretty impressive considering he has, first of all, played 2 games and also played against 2660 GM, so nothing to scoff at. I mean, I have to pay you 50 an hour, 200 per game. Wow, that's quite the rate, Bedford. 50 an hour, 200 per game. My goodness. I mean, if you want to, sure, I'll take 250 an hour. But also, I'll do it for free. So there is that. Do you think I'm getting paid for this? Also, when we did the commentary for the Sligo tournament, you know, that was not the rate. Let's just say that was not the rate. Okay, so I mean, Evia gets her double fianchetto. I think she could have gotten that a bit, made it a bit easier on herself without getting a very, very bad position at the opening, or well, without the potential of getting a very bad position out of the opening, without risking that. But okay, we arrived at it now. Also, it's not the greatest version of it that I've ever seen in my life. But okay, d4 doesn't seem right because e4 rather doesn't seem right. It sort of enables us to strike with d3 and undermine the center. It's not going to be easy to keep that intact. I like the pawns the way they are. And for now, they're not hanging. It is defended twice. You can defend it an additional 2 times in one move. So, oh, greetings, Einsteiny, chess enthusiast. I think, yeah, definitely something here. I presume being nervous plays a role in some of these openings. I don't know. Maybe. I guess I myself, when I played in Reykjavik, I had a touch move thing on move 3 in an IMSO, which is pretty silly. Okay, Evia played f4 instead. Curious. Makes sense though. Definitely makes some sense. Oh, it's so warm here. It's a bit frustrating. I don't deal well with the warmth. That's what I was saying. Oh no, Cutford, that was that was a different game. The one where I that was an intentional sacrifice. The one where I was just down a piece and won in round 1. That was a different one. The one where I had touch move in the opening, I was like -5 after 6 moves or something, and I lost eventually after 45 moves of suffering. multiple opening disasters. But okay, the other one was like, I was like, okay, I don't know why I felt like that. I was like, let's just go for it. Let's just sacrifice whatever. I didn't really terribly believe in it, but I don't know why. I don't know why I did that. I can't really tell you. Anyway, f4. Thank you for the beard, love, Einsteiny. When you say you wish you had one, are you saying you can you're too young, or you don't have facial hair growth? By the way, this is not what I would call a beard. It's just leftover facial hair from being too lazy to shave properly. I think I do technically have a rating like 1700 or something. Dark poison, but I don't know. I was like 18. I was 1850 or something after or before the last two rounds, and then I just had the touch move thing, and then I lost up a piece in the last round. I just couldn't play chess anymore in the last two rounds. I don't know what was happening. No, but that's true in some sense. But I don't think this is actually something you want as I don't think you want this um, as black. Like I mean, if your bishop, I mean, your bishop is not getting trapped maybe, but look at this position. I don't believe in it for black. So yeah, I mean, f4 definitely makes sense, but I wouldn't call it forced. You could also play. By the way, if I was so concerned about my knight, I would play bishop h1 maybe instead of f4. I think, you know. Yeah, the FIDE rating calculation is silly. Silly. Um, yeah, very silly. Doesn't really make any sense. Anyway, let's quickly go through Diana's game again so Dark Poison can see what's happening, or what was happening. Diana was going to play a Benko, really bit of an impulsive decision this morning. But okay, Benko was the idea, and her opponent didn't play d5 but knight of 3 instead, of course. d5 is pretty much what everybody plays because it's just much better. Knight of 3, really not trying for an advantage. And then her opponent played it very, very timidly and passively and sort of got punished in the appropriate way, just with active moves. And she got pushed back. Knight g1, of course not what you want to see, and the pieces just keep coming, and eventually now you have an undeveloped knight. You have light square weaknesses. You have a queen that's on a4, which is okay, but like not maybe your dream. Diana has actually been using quite a bit of time. I would have thought maybe she does another one of her, blitz games. She likes to do that against low-rated people. Yeah. Anyway, what do we play here? I mean, initial reaction, of course, to move our bishop. So bishop e6 looks normal. Even bishop f5, and then maybe playing knight d3 at some point. This could be an idea as well, you know, just jumping in here and saying maybe you're gonna take me, and then that's gonna be real bad because, well, you're gonna have to move your bishop, then we're gonna attack the bishop a bunch of times, we're gonna put our bishop here maybe if we ever get it to move away from f3, and also jump our knight in. I mean, that's gonna be really bad. Anything's gonna be really bad for white, really. Diana's been thinking for over 10 minutes, so we'll see what she ends up going with. Trisha was, you know, the one that was in a bit of a dubious position. Meaning, by dubious I mean like shouldn't be possible to win this one against an equal, well, someone of Trisha's strength. She wouldn't win this against someone her own strength. But okay, against a person rated 500 points lower, that's of course something you can do still. So rook d1, sure. Bishop f5, and then, okay, this I already don't like. You're sort of too keen to trade when that's actually like you don't have to be in a hurry to trade here as white. Like black has to come to you really. Like either you play rook c1 or you play rook d2, for example, or I don't know. But you don't really need to. You don't really need to do anything. So desperate for a trade. Like this rook, it's not so great there. It needs to move at some point, and just putting your rook in a position where it can usefully trade itself off, that's just, it's uncalled for, let's say. And then you already get hit by tempo. Now black gets the open file, maybe. But I mean, of course, still it should be a draw. Still it should be a draw. That being said, there are of course still ideas related to this majority. So I mean, now if anything, it's black that, you know, wants to press for something because that's the only advantage in the position, the pawn majority. But at the same time, it definitely shouldn't be enough for anything. So I mean, a draw should be the end result here. A bit unfortunate if Trisha were to draw against a 500 points lower rated opponent, but I don't think it should matter for the match technically. Let's look at what Lara's doing. In the meantime, yeah, she still has a nice position. Going for the classic stonewall knights, sort of on d3 and f3. You're gonna put the f knight over here. Do need to be careful a little bit about controlling c5. Yeah. Is this score important? Well, not really important. I guess it's a tie break. Yeah. Depends on what your goal is, right? I mean, is Diana's game still going? Yeah, Diana's game's still going. Hey, Donald, by the way. It is still going, I think. Let's see what you played. Okay, so she did play bishop f5. I kind of like that. Is it the best? I'm not sure. Bishop e6 is also another move that makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe that's slightly more natural, because bishop f5 is slightly forcing things, right? I mean, you have such a good position that maybe bishop f5 is a way to risk making your position slightly worse than it is right now, because it's so dominating that really just playing very orthodox moves should be good enough. But bishop f5 is of course more decisive. So let's see what happens. Let's say white forces the issue. How good or bad is this? Well, one thing that you're slightly less than happy about is, of course, that now the knight has a square. But we might be able to keep him from using that, or keep her from using that square. So that's still true. And white no longer has the light square bishop, so these light squares look really, really holy. For example, we can maybe like aim to bring our other knight in if the g1 knight ever wants to move. Be like, no, can't do it. I mean, this looks great, of course, and not taking, I mean, that looks dreadful as well. For one thing, you can even just take this pawn, probably. Not that you especially need to. Because, I mean, I don't think white ever wants to take this pawn. You're just gonna get killed. Because your king is so very unsafe. Also look at these pieces. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to believe that white has any sort of chances here at all. So yeah, Diana very solidly winning, but for now the game keeps going. And Evia, after f4, what did her opponent do? We already saw that Evia had a position out of the opening where her opponent missed a couple of chances to make it very awkward and inconvenient for her. Okay, so she does have this open diagonal, but it's not too big of a deal for now. You always gotta be careful in the long run. Like once you play f3 or f4, you do sort of open up possibilities against this king that's forced into the corner. So definitely a bit of danger in the long run, but still Evia positionally, I mean, this should be okay. It's not entirely clear what black's plan is. Like, do you develop? Do you try to bring your bishop to attack the light squares? You maybe want to somehow, some way, start a kingside attack. Although I don't really see how you do that so much. I mean, maybe like here. Oh no, wait, you can't do that. Can't do that because you're trapping your bishop. So actually, you kind of need to do something against getting your bishop trapped. Now that I think about it. So you need to move your knight or something like that. I'm tired again. I'm always tired these days. Technically I should be on holidays, but no. No such luck. No such luck. Anyway, let's look at the men's team. They are playing wait, it says on your screen somewhere. They're playing Ethiopia. So definitely should be strong favorites, but you know, board one of theirs is 2100, so definitely not too bad. But we're finally getting a white game, so that's good to see. d4, c2. Okay, so it's like a Catalan kind of setup by a very strange move order. And a very slow type as well. I think we're sort of transpositioning into more known territory now. Tired. As I said, tired. Cutford tired as well. Everybody's tired. Sweet. Okay, bishop takes e5. Bunch of trades. What do we think about this position? Okay, I mean, we have the isolated pawn to play against. We have the knight ready to blockade on d4. We're controlling the square a bunch of times. Trading off all the pieces. Now, I think trading off all the rooks specifically, like we would like to have this structure in a rook endgame or a pawn endgame. Or a knight endgame would be fine as well. But a queen, you know, with the queen on board, this should probably be in the drawing realm. I don't think that white can necessarily make too much happen against a single weakness on d5. Especially, I mean, it does serve some purpose for the outpost here. It's not technically an outpost, but you're not really going to play f3 too happily. So yeah, definitely a position that looks like it should end up in a draw. But maybe Alex can work some magic. Let's look at Tom. Okay. E4, like, by the way, the women's teams, there has been a lot of d4. I think we only saw maybe one e4 game in total. That was Alice yesterday, where she played a Petrov. But I think apart from that, it's all been like, you know, d4, c4, knight of 3 kind of thing. Which is interesting. Maybe they're like a little bit more strategically minded. Okay, but sugar. Anyway, Tom, a Sicilian, open Sicilian, Najdorf. That's a weird move, isn't it? Bishop d3. I mean, of course, by far the normal move is queen d2, and then sort of, you know, queen's at castle, g4, h4, king b1, that kind of stuff. Bishop d3, well, not only can't I think of having ever seen that, but also I don't really understand the point. Like, why are we playing bishop d3? Isn't the bishop fine on f1? I don't know. Doesn't really make sense to me. And Lichess says queen d2 played 8,000 times, g4 played 42 times, and knight d5 played 23 times, and a3 played 14 times, queen e2, bishop e2, h4, king d2 has been played, by the way. King d2 has been played, but bishop d3 never been played. So when you have a move that has been played less often than in this position than king to d2, then that's interesting. Although I don't really understand what this is. Let me tell you this. So anyway, let's just keep in mind, not a move that we're familiar with, and probably for good reason. I don't really see the point. But okay, castles. Other move, of course, b5. But okay, b5 next. Do we have to castle? I'm not sure, maybe. Oh, and now kingside castles. I don't know, that just seems like theory avoidance to me. I don't really see why you would play this sort of setup with kingside castles. It's like saying, oh, I'm gonna go for the attack, but then like, no, actually I won't. If you're gonna play, if you want to play something more quiet against the Najdorf, I think you have some sixth move alternatives that are quieter. I think you can play h3, yeah, h3 is a thing, and g3 is a thing as well, I think. Yeah, g3 is a thing. I think I've even seen b3 at some point, but that's probably not the greatest either. I mean, you have plenty of quieter options, that's what I'm saying. Whereas, let me just actually quickly check. I'm hallucinating. I think I've seen b3 played before. Yeah, b3 has been played, and then e5, knight f3, and then you're sort of saying we're going to play a quieter game with maybe not the optimal but a reasonable setup. But okay, anyway, opening discussions aside, let's look how the game's going. Now h3 now. I mean, this just doesn't look very good for white. Like, what's even the idea here? Black just has a lot more space, and white doesn't really have anything. Black gets rid of the d5, the d6 weakness with d5. I don't know. Okay, black's just rolling the pawns up the board, saying your knight is lost there, mate. Like, where are you going? And it is indeed quite lost. Like, oof. Doesn't really have any halfway decent squares. Even if it gets to like, even if you play knight e2, you still haven't got any squares from there, right? So doesn't really make any sense to me what white has been doing in this game. Yes, Mr. Food Lover, Diana is playing. We can just quickly bring up her game if you want. Interested in the women's section. Evia's opponent made a move, by the way. Knight c5. Reasonable. Okay, looks. I mean, I'm not a massive fan of f4. Personally, if I want to save my knight instead of sort of going for the pawns and the initiative, then I play bishop h1, I think, and knight g2, and then I can reroute. I don't love the structure so much. I think it's not as easy to play as the more default type of structure. Even if you know a fianchettoed knight isn't your dream, but like this knight also isn't your dream. So anyway, let's look at Diana's game. Yeah, so Diana was completely destroying her opponent the whole game, and eventually, actually she did it voluntarily. Her opponent, well, I guess it's the same kind of thing, except it's also a waste of a tempo. You can say a3 is a waste of a tempo, as in it's not useful against knight d3 check. But it might be actually, because it at least prevents the other knight from coming to b4 at some point. Whereas bishop d4, bishop c4, sorry, definitely a completely useless move because you're gonna have to take it, right? So, okay, she didn't take it, but now this is even worse. Like, this is a worse version. We were discussing this earlier with a3, knight d3 check, and then king f1. The point being that you're sort of leaving this knight there. Maybe you can, I mean, I don't really know, like this is completely lost of course as well, but at least you have your bishop still to cover some of the light squares, maybe. But in this variation, now if you don't take, your light square bishop is completely locked out of the king side, and you're gonna get, like, you know, nailed even harder on the king side light squares. So very strange game. King f1, queen f6, you're saying? Queen f6. So what are we doing with queen f6? What's the idea, Cutford? Are we gonna reroute this knight or what? Or what? I don't know why we have to play queen f6. Why don't we play knight e5? I mean, okay, I mean, sure, that's a threat-ish, but actually it's not, because knight h3 defends f2. So we would still have to wait for the knight to move, which then bishop h3 is death anyway, with or without. There. But yeah, so I just like knight e5 and knight c to e5, and then we're just putting more pieces around the king. Can't be bad. That's the lazy approach. Another thing, I mean, we could of course just take a pawn. That's a thing we could do. But I don't want to, because that's against the principle of destroy your opponent as hard as you can. Like, checkmate your opponent instead of, you know, giving mercy. Although, by the way, Cutford, let's say you play knight c5, and then you play queen, then you play, actually even that doesn't work. Even that doesn't work. Never mind. I was gonna say you have this kind of thing, but then actually you have queen c2, so it doesn't really do anything. But okay, I mean, she did play 95, which I like. And 92, knight b2, of course, also completely. Oh, and now our opponent takes. Now that doesn't make, I mean, I'm being quite harsh to her opponent, but like, if you were ever going to take this, why aren't you taking it when she has to recapture with a pawn? If taking with the pawn was better, then that doesn't matter anyway, but now surely you give her an extra option of taking with the knight, which definitely looks better than taking with the pawn, right? I don't really understand why Diana's taking with the pawn. Like, why don't we want our knight there? I don't really, not really sure. Like, it just looks so much nicer to have a knight there. I don't know. Anyway, I mean, it doesn't really. It's so desperate. Like, this game is, of course, super dead, and it has been for a long time. So now we do allow what you might call a fork, but also really, actually, I don't know. Okay, I mean, I guess we can do this. And then takes, we have like double check, and this is a thing. Why do we allow this? I mean, I suppose that's the idea. Like now you said like queen f6, takes, and then some double check. Are we checkmating? Did we calculate this? Knowing Diana, she definitely hasn't calculated this. So king e1, queen f1, here, can't go there. Queen f2. I guess we can maybe play queen. No, we can't because, oh yes we can, because knight, and then you have to block, and then you take. I mean, okay, it works, but also, okay, I mean, this is kind of nice, I guess, with the double thingy, and taking the rook away, and then we're also winning even more material now. But also, but also, did you really calculate this? Maybe. And the fact that she has, the fact that she hasn't played. I mean, she definitely didn't calculate this because she hasn't played a move. She hasn't played a move for 2-3 minutes. Wait, let's refresh. I hate the thing when there are moves on the board that aren't actually on the board. Yeah, so queen f6, queen f6 still completely winning, but at the same time, a little bit awkward. Okay, now other question: is there any move that we can play that loses or something? Like, is it really bad if we hang our knight? Is I guess what I'm asking. So let's play a different move. Let's play queen g4. Now, can white take this? No, because we win. Do we win? I mean, we win like this, right? And we win our piece back. Okay, so that doesn't work either. I guess knight queen g4 also works. Now, do we have this idea in any other positions? The point is we need to get rid of this knight for this to work. So we need to kind of grab the queen trade. Is there any other move? I also try to. No, we can't really attack the queen like this. We could attack the queen like this for extra style points. But like, okay, why would we do this? This doesn't really make any sense. So okay, I guess queen g4 works. Queen f6 works. Queen f6 works well. Queen g4. I mean, do you have to take immediately? Or can you move your queen anywhere with tempo? I guess you can't move it with tempo, maybe. What happens if you play queen d1? I mean, the problem is, like, even trading off queens, it doesn't really help you. Like, you're gonna just get nailed anyway. I can't have anything. You're gonna just get nailed anyway. That's the whole crux of this position. Queen f6 -8, next best -3 and -2. So we have a couple options. What's the -2? So two of them we see, queen f6, queen g4, but what's the other thing? I don't see any other sensible moves. I don't have any other candidate moves. I hope Diana doesn't panic, like, just take a breath. Take a deep breath. This is not the end of the world. Okay, we blundered, but it's not actually a blunder. It's all planned. all planned, right? So, bit of tactics. I mean, the problem about playing queen f6 is that it looks very weird because you're like, oh, we can't do discovered checks because, you know, like we would like to play this and pick up the rook, but of course we can't do that. So, because our queen's hit. Otherwise, we could. d5, yeah, okay. I mean, I guess the idea makes sense, but of course it's completely inhuman when you can also play queen g4. But okay, let's just say that both of these aren't like terribly trivial to see. When you're, I mean, if she's in a neutral state of mind, she sees them definitely. But in a panic, and you're in a situation where you're like, oh shit, I blundered a fork. No shit, because I mean, you can look at by the way she's playing, like she wasn't. I don't know. She was thinking she's winning, which is true. It's still true. So shouldn't be a problem. But at the same time, it's just a tiny bit scary always. Just a touch, just a smidge. Frightening. Also, after this game is going to be in the rating equilibrium range again. I mean, she won't have lost many points from the game yesterday. Her opponent was like 2290, I think. So, 400 ish points higher. But today her opponent is like 330 points lower. 20 years. Yeah. But anyway, okay, let's leave Diana to think about this for a little bit. I'm sure she's gonna find the solution. It's not like the most difficult thing in the world, and she's very good, so I don't have any doubts. Now Trisha really isn't making a lot of progress here, but of course that you can't really blame her for that. It's more like her opponent isn't letting her make any progress. By the way, I don't really understand. Let's look at the times here. 43 against 29. What were Diana's times? I have a feeling both of them were lower. How does that work? They play so many fewer moves? It made a noticeable difference. How many moves did they play? 26. So 26, that's I guess 8 moves, 4 minutes for each, 8 minutes extra. I guess it tracks. I thought I had spotted a rip in the space-time continuum, but actually it's all fine. It's all fine. All good in the hood. Chat is, by the way, a complete death zone. Complete death zone. Okay, let's look at Lara's game. Death zone like Trisha's game, by the way, it's also death zone. Okay, so here the knight h3, knight f4, knight d3 maneuver, fairly typical. You can get this kind of knight setup that's typical for the Stonewall through a number of different move orders. Okay, so her opponent jumps the knight in, then Lara jumps her knight in, and her opponent just goes back, which is kind of curious. And I should note, like, can't really be correct. Can't imagine that being the way to do it. At the same time, though, it's not too easy to play this with white. For an immediate plan, you just have to improve your position, just keep black from doing anything, and eventually you can bring a second knight in if she ever takes. Take with the b pawn. Now we create a weakness. Maybe we just target the weakness in different ways. Queen b3 is an idea. Just basically maneuver a little bit. Nothing too concrete here for Lara, but definitely a solid advantage. Okay, let's look at Evia, our hero on board 4. Okay, she's up nearly double the time, which is always good. Okay, after f4, they've been also playing very slowly. We're on move 13 and they're down to, well, her opponent's down to 20 minutes. She's down to 37. 37, not too awful, but still, considering we started with 1.5 hours, and it's gonna have to be 1.5 hours until move 40, and we're only on move 13. That means speeding up is indicated for sure. You're not gonna beat anyone in 13 moves too often. So let's say the decisive part of the game is still coming up. Although, I mean, I'm definitely guilty of this kind of time management myself. Okay, so Black has a little bit of an annoying threat of knight to d3 here, if White doesn't do anything about it. Sort of getting rid of this annoying bishop, and maybe even being more annoying than that. First, you do this pin that's been set up. So calm move, maybe queen e1, just getting out of the pin would be an idea. I don't really love White's position that much from a practical point of view. Black has a lot of space. White's a bit cramped. If you play something like h3, you continue sort of making your king a little bit airy, a little bit loose. I think on the Chess Pro channel they would say that the king is just asking to get his kimono lifted or whatever. Yeah, so a little bit scary. Like, actually, this match is going somewhat less smoothly than we would have maybe liked. I mean, Diana's game was going very smoothly, and it should really still go very smoothly. Okay, she played queen g4. I think we said probably better is queen f6, but it's a bit tricky. Also, I think Cutford sort of confirmed that queen f6 is actually still -8, but that also queen g4 is still very good for Black. The line being f takes, knight, queen takes, knight takes, and then the queen moves away, and the knight moves away rather from the crucial square to keep the rook protected. Now the rook's trapped in the corner, knight has to sacrifice itself, and well, I mean, king f2, or if we move our bishop, we're in real danger of losing this way. So actually, can we even, I guess knight c3 is in time maybe, so we can either promote right away, we can maybe double. The good thing, well, one of the good things for Black is that White can't even approach the pawn with the king. That king would first have to kick out the bishop, and then if the bishop remains on that diagonal, let's say king f2, then you would go bishop g4, and then you would have to play h3 and g4. And I mean, you can't push it out, is actually what I'm saying by that, I suppose. So you definitely should make a queen here, and then knight takes, bishop takes, and then you're just, you know, up piece and, well, completely winning, as you were the whole game. So Diana did find a good reply to, I mean, we can probably call it a blunder because she didn't see it and she didn't know that it was still winning before she played it. I mean, when you play with so much, when you have such a good position, you can play with a lot of confidence. And even when you make a mistake and miss sort of what might look like a tactic, it often just doesn't fully work. That's the beauty of having a super dominating position. That I know it's a quote from somewhere. I don't know who made that quote. Maybe someone with a better chess education can enlighten me. But it's like tactics flow from a superior position, and when you have such an inferior position as White has here, that means if you take it and turn the quote around, that tactics don't flow from an inferior position generally. So yeah, it might look like you have a tactic, but in fact you don't really. But okay, good for Diana for keeping her head. She thought for 13 minutes and figured it out. And okay, so her opponent took Diana. Like this is the pre-move sound on Lichess, the tidduk. So we basically had an OTB pre-move, and all of this is being OTB pre-moved. So Diana basically playing instantly is like, most of the time you just write down your opponent's move and then you make your move after. But in situations like this where you're like chuck 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 chuck, you just like wait for your opponent to write down the move, then she makes her move, you make your move instantly, you write down both moves. By the time she has looked at the move, she makes another move and you move it again instantly. Always a nice show of confidence. I mean, the more normal reason this happens is, of course, when there's like recaptures. People generally just do the recapture and then they write down both moves. I think it's like you're supposed to not get further ahead than 2 ply. So I think 1 response is fine before writing it down. So you only need to write down the move after you made, after both players made their move, basically. But this is just what I think is true. I'm not actually guaranteeing that it is. So if you ever get disqualified because you were too slow to write down a move, don't blame it on me. By the way, also I don't think it's a penalty, but I don't know what is, so I can just say whatever. Spread false information, my specialty. By the way, speaking of, I was listening to this German satire program yesterday, and it was a segment about the football World Cup in Qatar, and they were saying, wow, it always works so well, inspiring political change through sporting events. It's been a historically successful formula. Take Germany, for example. We had Olympic Games 1936 under Hitler, and 10 years later Germany was a democracy. So yeah, that was pretty funny, I thought. Great endorsement of the concept. Also, by the way, I'm kind of maybe talking to myself. I'm not sure if anyone actually heard this. Catford, thank you for being there to appreciate the joke. Thought that was quite a good one. Okay, so Diana's still completely winning. after making it a little bit interesting. I'm really curious about what Trisha is going to do in this position. Like, we should have Cuthbert. You should do like a prediction or something. Is Trisha gonna? I don't know if you can do this mod champ. Don't know the signature emotes. Just coming for a cheeky chicken emote, or is it a chicken? Looks like a chicken. Yeah, so I wanted to do a prediction. Will Trisha swindle this game and win somehow? I'm kind of feeling that she will, but at the same time, I don't see how it's possible. Like, I simultaneously believe it's impossible and think it's going to happen, which that's a bit of a cognitive dissonance, I guess. But that's kind of how I feel. Like, it shouldn't happen, and my head is like, nah, it won't happen, it won't happen. Also, her opponent's 1800, so Diana's opponent like 1600, close to. Trisha's opponent not 1800, but 1750 or 1760, so definitely not bad. But also, I played a 1700 in my first round in Reykjavik. And I also had an endgame where it wasn't. I mean, it's a different kind of endgame, right? Like, mine was imbalanced. I had 2 pawns for a piece. Of course, I was, lost going into it, and then it was a draw for a while. But it's not as. It wasn't as dry as this. This is very dry, with the slight caveat of her having a 3-on-2 on the queen side. But let's say, for example, we play rook d1 as white here. What is black going to do against that? Like, we can't block with the bishop because we're going to lose a bishop. And if we go back, I mean, how are we ever going to win here without the king on the right side of the board? That's not going to work. And if we go king e5, I mean, okay, then bishop g2 and f4 and what? Then we're still not getting anywhere, right? Like, all the squares are just controlled. And now our king is going to end up even further away. So, yeah. Not really sure how this is going to turn out for her. How she's going to conjure up winning chances out of literally nowhere. Well, out of literally the queen side, but also almost literally nowhere. Yeah, I don't believe in the position, but I believe in Trisha's magic. Okay, stopping by Lara. By the way, we're neglecting the men today. I don't know. I'm feeling like the girls' games, the women's games are more interesting. By the way, I say men and girls because the women's team is all very young players and the men's team isn't, so for the record. Do we have now I can vote. Well, actually, that's a good point. I can vote. Aha. Brilliant. No, how am I gonna vote it's a draw? No, I already voted. I wanted to actually vote for a win. That way. Well, actually, no, this is good. This is the right way. I should predict a draw because now, if it's a draw, then I get the bet right. But if it's a win, I can be happy that Team Ireland gets an additional half point. So This is game theory in my own predictions. Okay, wait, what is her opponent doing? What is Lara's opponent doing? So I'm very confused. So first we trade the pawns in the center, and then Lara plays knight f3, her opponent plays knight e4. Lara plays knight e5, her opponent plays knight f6. Lara plays queen d2, and her opponent plays knight e4 again. That's a bit strange. Well, now I think that that must have been the reason why she didn't do this before, right? Like, pawn takes, bishop takes rather, and then what do you take with? F pawn, I guess. And then, well, first of all, your pawn is hanging, which is bad. But also, I'm really thinking you could do this, and then you can plant your knight in. Or you can again, I mean, you should definitely take here first, and then you plant your knight in, and then like, I don't know, let's say trade. But of course, we're just down a pawn here. Can't even go bishop f5. We have to play bishop e8 because bishop f5, g4, and you're losing another pawn. So yeah, this is what we call getting punished for playing very, very strangely. Just, I mean, you can't just keep moving your knight back and forth. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. Also, it's a very simple tactic. Lara's going to see this, no problem. Okay, back to Evia Cam. By the way, I was looking for camera footage of the Irish teams yesterday on I was going through the VODs of the Chess24 and Chess.com channels, but rudely, no camera footage at all. So, very disappointed. Okay, so Evia did play h3. Well, she also played queen e1 and h3. That's strictly necessary? I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I guess if you play h3 right away. No, but this doesn't work because you can just take on h4. And then here you get two pieces for a rook and you don't even have to take with the queen. So if you took with the queen, then d4, but you don't have to take with the queen, so because bishop c1 is fine. So that would have been winning. I'm not sure if you had to play queen e1 first, but it's definitely not what you would call like a wasted move or anything. Well, you could, I suppose, call it that. But maybe it has some uses. Also, I really don't like the knight. I still think this is easier to play for black, probably. Objectively, I have no idea. Oh, Donal, are you gonna donate all your points to me? Oh, that's great. Okay, well, that's all my points. Trisha better not win. No, Trisha better win. I hope you get your points, Donal. You've been sitting on them for ages. How many do you have, Donal? Surely those weren't all you have. Still got 50k. Yeah, see. Fine. I usually donate points anyway because I predict a certain way. Anyway, oops, no, this is the wrong one. So Evia's game, I would prefer black probably. If I had to choose which side I play, I would take black. So I don't love the white coordination. I don't love white's king, and I don't love white's knight. So I would take. To be clear, I'm not 35k sure that Trisha will win. Well, I think rational choice theory would argue that. No. Okay. I want to get 150k so I can get a speech, play a speech as championship against Diana, roughly 30 games. Well, not Donald, Cutford. I'm sure we can do some lobbying and get her to play a speed chess championship. Actually, we could have a darling speed chess championship. Championship. How about that? You know, there could be odds for those with more rating difference. For example, the Goku could play with like 30s, like 2 minutes and 30 seconds against 3 minutes or something in against someone like Diana or something. Well, against Diana you don't really need odds, but let's say against, I don't know. Anyway, what I'm saying is there might be like some odds or something. We always say these things. We always say these things that we're gonna do, right? Like we're gonna do the Darlings Classical Championship. We're gonna do the, choose a thing of your choice, but never really ends up happening. Now, for the record, we're going interrailing. We might have some streaming time there. There's ever like bad weather or something, so we might host some group streams or something like that. Might be good. Okay, okay, I wanted to check back on Trisha's game because that's the game I care about here. The bet. Okay, well, now this I already don't like what White's doing. I think you should definitely check the king back. There's no reason not to play rook d1 check. Surely. I understand. I understand that bringing the king is generally a useful thing, but I don't know if this necessarily is the situation for it, but okay. I mean, also, you're not messing anything up, really. I don't think, even if you play... Well, actually, no, I think actually this is just a bad idea in general, because you're not going to play king c3, because then you're probably going to lose. Like, you're gonna let her play c5, and like, might still not be bad, but you're going in the wrong direction, basically. Usually the end ends up playing mean 52. Yeah, keep bothering her. That's the spirit of it, You really have to bother her about things. If it's about writing essays, if it's about going to the doctor, that's applies same to me, by the way. But if it's about training chess, even if you bother her about these things generally, she still doesn't do them, but at least there's a chance. But there's no chance if you don't bother her. Okay, Laura. Ethereum, of course, Laura saw it. Okay, so she takes and then directly takes on g5. I think I personally would have. Well, I guess you could still do it. Didn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you take on g5 first and then play knight d7, and still play knight d7 after this. Let's say king h8, and knight d7, bishop d7, knight e5, And now, I mean, we're just gonna play e3 next or something, unless she plays f4 now, which, okay, I guess we can't take it. That's what's being pointed out to us with this move. But is that actually true? Because if we because actually you can take it, because here it's just main and one. So that would be funny. Only someone bothered me for my cover edge. Actually, that's another fun fact. The whole internship that she was doing, and that might she might end up a grad program there. It's like, I was like, no, come on, just apply, just apply last minute, and then like 30 minutes before the end of the fucking deadline, things got submitted, which is funny. Although this is less bothering than forcing, as in like doing it and then pulling her along. But this would be a nice way to end the game, you know, being like, oh no, my queen. Checkmate. This is an Eric Rosen style finish. If this comes on the board, maybe we should submit it for analysis. Her opponent, by the way, this is maybe the closest rating-wise. Lara at 1969, nice. And Natsumi Kojima at 1782. So not all that big of a rating difference. But Lara, generally a little bit swingy, I think. And generally does better against higher rated players, I think, as well. Bit like Diana as well. Okay, Diana Cam. Oh, what the hell? Where's this king going? Okay, let's go back. Oh, okay, interesting. So king f2, not knight f3. Odd choice. I mean, objectively probably similar. I don't imagine it makes much of a difference, but it's a bit unnatural for me to give up my rook instead of my knight, and allowing another trade when you know, the pawn is just running down the board. But okay. Okay, b5, trying to kick the knight away from c3. A3 not allowing it. A5 insisting. Okay, so of course white could think about taking this. This move or last move. But let's say we do take that, then well, I'm not sure if the point is if we want to play d2 or rook c2. Either way looks good. D2 probably, I mean, it's definitely more concrete. I mean, this is very simple, right? Now we're just gonna be, but okay, everything's simple, so it doesn't really matter so much. And now we're getting another checkmate in the middle of the board by what it looks like. I don't really get e4, but of course you can't really criticize anymore at this point. It's a bit late for that. Now, where is the mate? That's the real question. So I'm guessing we play rook e8. No, but actually we're not really checkmating, are we? Because rook. Oh. Rook e8. Nah, maybe we are just checkmating. The problem is, like, how do we cover the square? Maybe, what if we play what if we play h6 at some point? I don't know. Anyway, it's gonna be mate soon. That's all I know. Let's see how Diana goes about it. Did she play rook e8? I hate lichess, did I mention it? I love lichess, but not for this. Although it's gotten better, at least you have this little square. But somehow it gives me anxiety that I can create a main line. And then the game's going to continue in a sub-variation. Okay, so she did play rook e8. Makes sense, of course. And mate is probably imminent. Like, let's say you play something that doesn't really do anything. I think you just play h6 and then it's checkmate. Kind of crucial. Well, not crucial because it doesn't really matter in terms of the result, but it does matter in terms of the quickest possible mate. So this is going to be checkmate. If this happens, you can't really do anything about it. Let's see, try to bring your knight in. No shot. I've been waiting for a chance to say no shot. I don't know why. It's just something that people have been starting to say recently, and I don't really understand why. Or maybe it's not recent, and I'm just behind the curve. Lovely. Also, Cutford, why do you have a voting thing? Why does it say you voted for one? Aren't you even... thought you're not allowed to participate as a mod. Anyway, let's go to the men's team. The men's team. What's the men's team up to? Yeah, we missed a bunch of moves here in the Tom O'Gorman against person from Ethiopia game. Ooh, cute. Okay, so black has this pawn that's going to be decisive unless white can do anything. White's trying his best to do something. Will it succeed? Probably not, I would imagine. You can choose to participate as a mod. Well, that seems like cheating. But okay. It's like, oh, you're a coach in a football competition, so you're barred from betting on it, except if you choose that you do want to bet on it. Like, great. Or the referee, more likely, even. More of an analogy. Oh, you can't vote for points. Oh, you just have to grind it out by watching. I see how it is. No gambling. Well, at least you can be sure that, you know, the casino won't take you for all you have. The way to riches. There's no quick and easy solution for success, or whatever they say. Yeah, exactly. You're the ref. Can't be having you betting. Sure, you'd be impartial, but okay. Let's look at Alex Baburin. Wait a minute, what is this? Why are we up a piece all of a sudden? Okay, so here, well, I don't know exactly where, but hereabouts we were saying, oh yeah, here, exactly here. After h5 we were saying, okay, this looks like it's gonna be a draw. What happened that suddenly white was up a piece? Okay, so queen trade. I was saying earlier, if you remember, anything but a queen trade. Very puzzling that you would go for a queen trade here, because you sort of fix your structure a little bit by doing, by getting the queen trade on c6, but at the same time, you're still going to have two weaknesses. So I don't... really understand. So I guess he had a very concrete plan against b4. He wanted to play c5. I guess forgetting that f3. Yeah, it doesn't really. I mean, it forces your knight away. Can't defend this pawn, so you're just losing a pawn and the game. So he just gives up his knight. I mean, if you're gonna give up your knight, can't you at least like take on g3, attack the other knight? No, you have to take, and then you take here. I mean, he also lost, but maybe a little bit better. Maybe not, actually. Maybe it doesn't make a difference. But yeah, okay, so Baburin winning against his opponent, who just really handed it to him on a silver platter. Tarun. Okay, let's see what he plays. d4 as well. The siblings, both d4 players. Maybe if you want to prep against Tarun or against Trisha, maybe you can just look at the other person's games for any recent innovations in what they play to be able to predict what the other is going to play soon. Maybe they study together or something. Okay, instead of taking on c5, we play a3. But now we take on c5. And now bishop f5, interesting. Okay, again, we're playing against this isolated pawn. Okay, wait, what? What is happening? I don't understand. I guess he thought he had some tactical justification for taking, for playing 94, sorry. But Tarun's just like, no, actually, you don't. Give me your pawn. And okay, he was thinking knight b3 does the job, but I guess you can just take on c8 because you're getting 2 rooks for a queen, and that doesn't really do anything. Now, not only did you get a pawn, but you also have the often slightly advantageous 2 rooks against a queen. Now, is your coordination optimal? Which is kind of a crucial point with 2 rooks against a queen. Maybe not yet. Maybe not yet optimal, but can it be fixed? Yeah, probably. Also, black's coordination isn't great. Like the knight has to come back to f6 to prevent rook g8, rook h8, rook g8, forcing the king out and probably, leading to something painful. Okay, eviction prevented for now. 2 rooks against a queen. Bishop's going to come over, and now we have coordination. We have the rooks are connected. I mean, they'd prefer to, let's say, be on the 7th instead of the 8th rank. They would also maybe even prefer to be both on the C file. But with the knight being really nice on d4, the bishop being really nice on f3, or maybe d3 even, eventually. Yeah, that's gonna be very good for white. And let's look at our board for first appearance for Mark Heidenfeld, international master. So far he had 2 rests, but now he's playing his first game. Let's see how it's going. He's playing against a 2000. Another e4. Definitely heavy on the e4 in the men's section, or the open section rather, and very heavy on the d4 in the women's section. Okay, Rui Lopez. This is actually the same line that Tom O'Gorman played yesterday against Idan Puyani. And lost with, so make of that what you will. Okay, it's not the exact same line. Tom played some rook b8 line. I'm not too familiar, but also a closed Rui Lopez is what I'm saying. Interesting position. I mean, okay, white has a little bit more space in the center. In exchange, black has this pawn taking space on c4. Probably you like black here. Generally, like eventually black has some pawn breaks while white is going to struggle. Okay, so just a lot of maneuvering. Okay, actually, eventually white was the one after all who went for f4, but I would doubt that it's correct. But you are struggling to do anything here with white, because black's pieces are just getting better and better, and white's pieces, I mean, it doesn't really look, you know, it doesn't really look great. Like, all of your pieces are sort of bad. Oh, Diana won. Okay, let's see. I mean, not surprising. Oh, wait, did actually the exact thing that we looked at happen? And then that kind of mate? Let's see it. Or was this just... Okay, hello, computer. Computer. Let me write to her real quick. Okay, so as we see, quite a dominating win. Really, her opponent playing a very, very bad opening, and then it was never really close. And oh yeah, her opponent did actually let the mate happen, basically, not in the exact way that we said. I said some random knight move, but she played h3. Unclear what it does, and then h6, and she resigned. Okay, so Diana again, first to finish out of the team. Well, actually, I say again, but that's actually not true. Last time it wasn't her. Last time it was Evia, after her opponent made 2 illegal moves. But I think in round 1, among the players that actually played, she was the first to finish. And now again. So let's look at Trisha's game again. See, now, yeah, Donal, you're gonna win, aren't you? I mean, let's look at what happened. But yeah, I really hate what white's doing. Like, leave your pawns alone, and you should have just pushed the king back. Instead, you're letting, you know. Well, okay, now we did push the king back. Maybe I'm being too harsh. We did push the king back. Now, actually, funnily enough, 10 points incoming. No, So I don't think she's getting 10 points for beating a 1500. I mean, I'm not sure. Doesn't seem right though. Okay, let's see. Oh, you mean you? Oh, because Trish is winning. Well, Trish, I take it back, actually, by the way. I take it back. I don't think Trish is winning. Baited you. I take it all back. Because, in fact, I think Trisha might be in trouble because look, oops, oop-de-doop, doodly, up. Right? I mean, okay, I say in trouble, but realistically, of course, shouldn't be any trouble. At the same time, actually, well, I was thinking, what if you do something like this? But the problem is that after rook takes, like king b7, let's say, you can always, like, you know, swing around and pick up these pawns now. And if you go to d7, and you lose this pawn, and then you're really in trouble. Now you're down a pawn, and well, you're down 2 pawns, but I meant you're down a pawn on the king side and on the queen side. So actually, if her opponent has any tactical vision left after this game, Fisherman. Like, I was earlier thinking, like, oh, you know, one of the reasons Trisha is going to win this is because it's completely without any danger. Like, you're not better, but there's no way you ever lose with the 3-on-2 majority on the queen side, right? Like, something apocalyptic would have to happen. But this is pretty apocalyptic, isn't it? Like, I guess we have a better move than rook b4, maybe. Or maybe, I mean, maybe do we need to do anything? Like, oh, what am I talking about? The rook's hanging. So we definitely need to take. We definitely need to take, and then this, and I don't know what happens if we give a check. Well, this might be something because you can't cross over this line here because the bishop is alive for now. And we can't also get too close, or we can also get closer to the rook because, you know, then we need to keep the pin on the bishop. Well, actually, though, oh, no, we can't do that, but let's say here, and then if black makes a stupid move, like just unpinning, then we have king b2 check, picking up the rook. But unfortunately, we have rook a5. No, wait, rook a5 we still take. No, we have rook a5, yeah. That wasn't my idea, but I wanted to say we can take here, but of course we're too slow. Are we too slow? Wait, no, because you move, then you take the pawn. Actually, my idea does work. But another idea, if takes, then we check, and boom, and choom, and, you know, we pick up the pawn, and that's winning with the outside. Well, I assume it's winning with the outside pass pawn. I mean, Or am I to say that it's winning? But okay, I think we can play like king here, maybe here. Um, okay, maybe g5. No, it doesn't really do anything, does it? Oh, actually, no, it does. It does. So g5. Yeah, so g5, and if he just keeps bringing the king, we take, and then we attack the pawns. And now they're falling apart because they're not passed yet. Right, so this would, okay, this is a ridiculous variation. All I'm saying is that, of course, it's not going to happen. But I think Trisha's in a bit of trouble here. Under the pawn and maybe more. But maybe with that other move, she can keep it in check. Oh, but this is like tough, you know? She might lose. This is bad. Okay, I mean, by the way, Donal, though, if you have to decide what happens if Trisha loses. Now, I said draw, you said win, but what happens if she loses? Nobody saw that one coming. Okay, but I'm still not sure if she is losing. Let's say takes, and then checking. If we start checking, like, how does white get out? We established that you can't step on. You can't step onto the C file. Actually, this might be a way to trick your opponent. If, let's say, Trisha saw all this and is like, okay, now I have to give this check and it's a draw because white can't step over to the C file. And now, if white does step to the C file and she misses rook a5, then then she somehow wins it after all. Maybe that's her tricky master plan if she saw that rook a3 is a draw, which, by the way, I'm not 100% sure about. But the idea is that you can't cross out of the pawn chain this way because the bishop is covering all the squares. So you can't escape out of the pawn chain. Your pawns are blocking you, and the bishop's blocking you, and you can't cross the c file, and you can't run over here because everything's blocked. That would mean that you would have to run to the first rank. And if you go rook d1, then you're gonna get the pawns, and now maybe you have a draw. I don't know. Oh, this is complicated. Like, you're still threatening this, so maybe just king c7 back, and then king rook c6 send repetition, or something like that. I'm not sure. It would be kind of cool if it was a trap, but also it's not a trap because Trisha has been thinking for 5 minutes after this, and now she's thinking again, so oh man, scary. Come on, Trish. Come on, Trish. Well, she better win because actually, like, Diana won, but at the same time, I mean, Lara's also gonna win. But Evia, what are we thinking about Evia's position? Oh, wait a minute. Am I counting wrong? Aren't we just... Wait a minute, what? Wait, what? I don't know. Okay, anyway, it looks kind of good. Oh, for a second, I thought we were up a piece. I'm sorry. Wait, are we? No, we're not up a piece. Counting is difficult. Okay, but what do we do here? I mean, it looks kind of. Let's see. What is happening? Like, this pawn looks very weak. Unless we can play this, and then we give up this square. Oh, and let's say we just move our knight out of the way. I mean, I guess we only have limited options for that. So knight a2, knight b1, knight d1, which all look a bit weird, but we do unleash our rook against the bishop. So actually we prevent, well, the point is we prevent this move. And if we play knight d1, let's say, we're preventing d4 because we could just take it, right? So that means that this pawn can't be defended, I want to say. And also we're threatening this kind of thing eventually, and probably death for black is imminent. It's okay, Avia looks good. Did she play this? No. Never mind, she didn't play this. Anyway, okay, now, never mind, I have no concerns. Even if Trisha loses, even if Trisha lost, we'll still be fine. Okay, also she's not losing. She did give the check, and they're repeating. No, her opponent is running. Wait. Oh no, okay, that's not a legal move. I was wondering, like, where's she running? That we said that's not a possibility. So actually, Trisha draw. She won't be happy about that. She won't be happy at all. But she never really had any chances whatsoever. By the way, her opponent, she didn't even consider for a second to try that tactic I was talking about earlier. Like, she didn't even try for a second to like play this, you know, and maybe come down here and keep playing, or yeah, don't know, no, that's an oof indeed. But she didn't even try for a second to come around, let's say, even to this, because I mean, you might think of something like this, you know, it's not you might want to try for more, but she didn't want to have any of it. All the emotes. Ellen, Lula Robs, Dina, VG Leah Lee. I don't know who that is. Slowdom. Oh, I like the penguin emotes. I like Slowdom, and of course the Diane M4 oof. Fluppy Fluppy 13,000 IQ Megamind Head SQ. Also a great emote name, especially. Oh, I'm so rich. Thank you, Donald. See now, Donald, on the bright side, even if I had bet 200,000, you would still have lost the same amount, so it doesn't really matter that I bet 10. That makes it any better. Even if you had played the odds correctly, the result would have been the same. Okay, so Trisha draw, a bit of a shame really. But the other three are going to win. Lara is just, well, what is she? Up one pawn, but a kind of a crucial pawn, kind of a G pawn, and kind of a gangster pawn to be up. Balk hands. Balk, balk. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay, actually, I need to get something to drink. I'm dying. Be right back. All right, all right. What did I miss? I only wanted to spend 10k. Well, maybe I'll just gamble 25k back to you at some point. Gamble, gamble. That's why they call it gambling. I don't know if you know this reference. Rudy's in the chat, he probably knows it. I don't know if you've ever been active on poker Twitch. Well, actually, it's been a while since this person that I'm talking about has been active on poker Twitch. If anybody can give me the name of the streamer I'm talking about, extra points for, you know, being cool. Wait a minute. She played queen to g7. But why? But why? But why? Why aren't we just taking that queen? And then we're gonna play rook c1, and then we're gonna be up another pawn? Aren't we? Aren't we gonna be up 2 pawns then? I don't quite get it. What's the reason behind queen g7? Am I missing something? I mean, I guess we can't do this anyway. Because we're getting checkmated, but yeah, I guess we're always losing that pawn anyway. So never mind, I'll take it back. It's just terrible. Terrible for black. Terrible, 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 terrible. But our new main board, maybe, after Diana already won and Lara is very trivially winning. Let's see. How is it looking? Okay, we took that knight. Doesn't strike me as you know, the most reasonable decision. If we want to move our bishop, then why don't we move it to e5 instead? That seems a lot more to the point. Because, I mean, we don't really want to do this, do we? If we are being honest, like, who's coming in? Like, everything's coming in. This pawn's still pinned because, you know, it's undefended. We can't even really easily defend this. This bishop won another time either. Like this is a thing, this is a thing. Now this is just terrible, so I don't... I don't think that was a good move. Bishop takes f6. But okay, probably not terrible either. Her opponent's also very low on time. She's like, she had 1 minute. She's probably gonna flag at some point. Like she's down to 20 seconds. Now she took with the knight. I mean, okay, Evia, Jesus. It's a statement of confidence to take that pawn. I mean, you can, sure. Would I have taken it personally? No. But I mean, you could play e4, rook takes c8. Move your queen somewhere. Queen f2, e3. Queen e3 maybe is not such a good move because we're preventing e4. But yeah, okay. I mean, anyway, this looks really good for Evia. Well done to her. Bit of a strange game. Like it started out strangely. Like opening wise, really got to be careful with this kind of stuff. You're already, when you play the English, it's already a bit of like, you know, you're controlling the center, but you're like controlling the center. Like you're attacking the center, but you're not actually controlling the center, especially when you play knight c3 and b3. Any kind of opening where you play b3 early, you got to be a little bit careful about getting completely rolled in the center. It's been known to happen to b3 players, and this would have happened here as well. Like d4. I mean, if you go knight back, that would be fantastically bad. If you get knight e4, also not great. If you go knight e4, well, you're inviting to get kicked out further. So you're gonna be like, this is an especially bad version of a reverse. I don't know, like it's not even exactly a reverse Oyekin, but it's like, I don't even know what to describe this as. Dangerous folly is what it is. Like, you're gonna get hurt in this opening. So yeah. Evia's opening repertoire. Careful of the center. A couple more times I would say d4 would have been possible. And here even, I still like black. Where did it all go wrong? I still like black. I still... Oh yeah, at one point there was a... Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but like at one point I didn't love black's move, but generally I don't mind black's position too much here. It started going a bit wrong when like some strange moves were played, like b6 for example. Not really to the point. Finally this knight comes back from the edge, because you know, knight had to go and block out the bishop's defense of the f5 square. Now knight f5 immediately would have been a thought for sure. I guess there's a throw. I guess maybe not. I guess never mind. Ignore me. Ignore me. I mean, this is a thing, but what if king takes? I don't know. Maybe you have some counterplay. I don't know. Hey, Waterford Wizard. Who told you anything? No, I haven't told. I haven't. Oh well, I mean, I've told her about the concept, but I haven't really told her about the that thing. So Diana actually wasn't feeling too great today, like physically. She said she was feeling a bit nauseous, like she wanted to puke all the time or whatever. So, um, good that she finished her game reasonably quickly. Um, yeah, anyway, Evia's game. Wait, this is not Evia's game. This is Evia's game. Eventually, it just went very wrong. Not even like it was one obvious thing, but like the e-pawn dropped, and I mean, everything is just starting to fall apart then. And yeah, okay, finally we're opening up this diagonal. It's been a while, it's been a long time coming. Okay, our opponent, can't see the clock times. Okay, she had 30 seconds, so she's just playing on the increment. The unfortunate thing about that is like, she's already so lost that she's already so lost that it's not like you can keep time pressure on her and hope she blunders, because like, I mean, the position's already dead. So kind of now you have to be the one. I mean, she doesn't really have that much time either, so you kind of have to be the one to find a way to finish it off with not that much time on the clock. And 8 more moves to go to time control, so still, you know, Evia's got to be a little bit careful, but apart from that, nothing should go wrong. And Lara's opponent should really consider resigning. I mean, you're just, you know, down 2 pawns in a rook end game. And 1 pawn is like, you know, close to promotion. What's the fastest way to win this is the real question. Okay, she takes. I mean, I guess just rook a5 is the thing. And then you trade more pawns. I mean, generally you wouldn't want to like trade all your pawns, but it's not all your pawns, it's just a couple. And you're just up so many that trading a couple isn't really a problem. Okay, she played rook c4 instead. I mean, yeah, whatever she does, she's gonna win. Really. Realistically. Okay, let's go to the men's team. Mark is very low on time. My goodness. Wait a minute, what? So he took this pawn, then bishop d2 was played, and he had 8 minutes and 39 seconds. Now, allegedly, I guess the time is wrong somehow, because allegedly he has 0 time. Maybe his opponent resigned. I mean, not that he should resign here. Although it does look quite bad. because like you play knight c5, and like your queen can sort of infiltrate. Your pawns are coming down the board. You're going to bring your bishop in to like some slightly active role with some moment. But I mean, it's not resigned time yet. So I don't know. Maybe the board broadcast got messed up a little bit. I also already saw Alex winning. Timo Gorman also ended up winning his game. Oh yeah, it was this weird, I don't know, fake English attack that White was playing and getting all his pieces pushed around. Oh my goodness. Ended up with this awkward pawn structure on the queen side. We took the knight even, and then a2 falls, and yeah. Then we promote and win the queen. Nice. Okay, well done, Tom. I guess 21-37. Pretty smooth game, I would say. Let's look at the graph for the lols. Yeah, pretty smooth, about as smooth as it felt after that somewhat strange opening move there by White. Okay, let's look at Tarun. It's also doing well. Oh yeah, that was the game where he had the 2 rooks and extra pawn, and all his pieces got beautifully coordinated. 1 pawn falls on each side, but the rooks are getting, you know, better and better coordinated. Also, this specifically, you might be getting mated here soon, you know. Let's say you move your knight somehow, and then you're gonna get like hit with knight e6 check. I mean, that's just illustrated. Let's say White makes a silly move, and then Black makes a very silly move, but let's ignore that for a second. Like here, you just get mated like with this, or with knight e6 as well, probably. Knight f5, and here, actually here maybe. Wait, no, that's not a move. What am I doing? Here, and block. Somehow I thought that. Never mind. Okay. So that's the point. You're almost getting checkmated if you're not careful as well. Of course, it's not going to happen like this, but anyway, it looks pretty good. I'm not sure what happened in this game. It says 0 time for Irish player, but I don't trust that. But also, I don't really think that that White resigned in this position. Like, it seems a bit early. Like, it doesn't look great, but you know, you still have maybe some ambitions on the king side, something. I don't know. Okay, are there any other games we would like to see? Now that we're pretty much finished with our main program for now. Actually, we have more main program to go. Well, side program, let's say. Because we have a couple of friends playing the Olympiad as well. Now, for example, we have Caitlin, a previous stream visitor. I think she's playing today, isn't she? I hate this system, like... Oh, never mind, I have to do this first before I can search. Hey, here, Caitlin. Kate Mundo. Oh no, Kate Mundo lost against 1100. That's unfortunate. But okay, let's see how the game went. She told me this morning she was gonna play the Chabanenko Slav, and then she played the Dutch. What? I'm very confused. She was like, "Oh, hey Patrick, I'm gonna play the Chabanenko Slav," and I was like, "Cool, Caitlin." And then she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, I don't know what the Chabanenko Slav is in my head. But apparently she doesn't either, because that's not the Chabanenko Slav. No, I'm kidding, but that's a bit weird that she she just, like, I don't know if she winged it or anything. Hello, I am Leon Legend. How are you doing? Irish teams are crushing today. Trisha actually, you know, drew her game, but the joke never gets old. It's always hilarious. I'm good. It's really an impression. Anyway, Caitlin's game. Now, I guess this is one way to play in the Dutch. I mean, I'm not really familiar with the, queenside fianchetto. Oh, where were you on vacation? By train. Interesting. We're going on train vacation. 10 out of 10 impression, I thought so. Naroditsky impressions are nothing compared to mine. In fact, maybe this impression wasn't a Diana impression, but a Daniel Naroditsky impersonating Diana impression. So a meta impression, so to say. Wait, so I actually didn't watch what happened. So we had a reasonable position. And then we took the pawn, didn't we? Yeah. Don't take that pawn. That's a suicidal idea. Because we are inviting all the weaknesses on our king. That's sort of one of the key weaknesses of the Dutch defense. Like, look at these squares controlled by the knight. Can't block the attack on our king. We're gonna have to go to the corner, and then all the diagonals are open. We're gonna get hit with the knight. Also, by the way, good play there by white, I must say. Like, okay, this is not a good move, probably, objectively, because, I mean, we can do all sorts of things except taking. We can say knight e4, force a knight trade like this. Oh, actually, yeah, because the knight's pinned. So, knight g near, and then eventually maybe we can think about taking. And now that these squares aren't covered by the scary knight anymore. But yeah, that's a kind of a classic mistake that Caitlin fell for there. But I mean, a good combination by her opponent. Okay, and then, like, sort of desperately going or something, with a relatively small chance of success. I mean, if we play something like knight c5, knight e5, knight e5 maybe, and then nah, you know, might have some chances to make some swindle happen, because after all, we are, you know, maybe starting some sort of small attack. But now we're losing this. Now we can't really move the queen too well because we're losing d6 as well. We did lose d6 as well, and now the knight's pinned. Okay, knight's still pinned. Probably should have played king g7 realistically. But okay, of course, we're lost at this point. Queen of 3, okay. Being like, chase my queen around, please. I mean, at this point, it's hard to give any reflection on the moves. Kind of a cute way to defend. There by black. Eventually, we're just a rook down, though. 2 rooks down, and we resign. Okay, I mean, underrated player Caitlin played there, probably. It doesn't look like necessarily a 1100. But okay, did Scotland still win? Looks like it. Caitlin would be on board 4. Alice Lampard won. Roy Ali won. And Susie Cook won. So still 3-1 Scotland. But okay, let's look at maybe Lula. Tallulah. Lula Robs. Is she still playing? Is she? Yes. Okay, let's look at this game. C4. She's a C4 addict as well. Personally, I don't look too favorably. I don't think this is necessarily like, you know, people hate on the London for being a system opening and blah blah, but like if you play the English like this, I think you're gonna have similar kind of tendencies. It's basically a non-opening in my view. Well, I mean, it's as much of an opening as the London, which, I mean, London is decent, right? I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying maybe it's not your... Wait, what? Why did we do that? Wait. Okay, I guess we're gonna make a pass pawn, and maybe that's enough to win. We are up a pawn. I kind of went through it too quickly. I didn't actually see where we won the pawn. Wait a minute. Where did we win the pawn? Ah, so d5 was played. And then... Oh yeah, the c pawn was won at some point. Okay, interesting. I don't know. Not really going to look too closely into what happened there. Now, is this winning? I mean, yes, it is very likely. Not only do we have the passed pawn, we also have the better pawn structure here, being on the light squares. So there's not as big of a chance for us to... Although, I mean, okay, we're getting locked out. I'm not sure if I'm necessarily... Okay, I mean, we're gonna probably have to try to march around at some point. I'm not doing it. I don't really get bishop e1. And g4. I mean, the knight is a nice blockader here, so it's not so easy. It looks pretty easy. But somehow it got not so easy. I think we were a bit slow to walk around with the king. Feels like we had some opportunities. Oh, what? Wait, what? Oh my goodness, Lula. Lula, very bloodthirsty. I can't imagine that being good, by the way. The pawns are just very far away from promotion. I haven't, I mean, it can't be good. No, it can't be good. It can't be good for a couple of reasons. One very specifically that, like, your bishop's always going to be tied down to this pawn. And even that won't be enough because, like, as soon as this pawn is not a danger, we can just take this one by playing, like, you know, here. So the knight's always going to be tied down. I mean, like, we're going to need to protect this because we're already threatening to lose this. And okay, we use our tempo to play a5. I guess there's no way we can even protect the pawn. Okay, can we take it eventually? No. I guess we're rounding up this one first. Okay, now we're just taking, let's take here. And I mean, I don't know what you're trying to do with the pawn, but that's not going to work out. That's a shame. So that's a shame. Lula probably winning in this endgame, but like not in this specific way. That's very unlucky. Well, it's not unlucky, but that's unfortunate. Would have been nice for her to get her first win. I think it would have been her first win. I think she lost twice, but I'm not sure. And I think it's also the first time Jersey has a women's team, but I'm not entirely sure about that either. And I'm also not sure if they've gotten a point yet. So it might be nice for them to definitely get a point on the board. Okay, let's see. So Lula, actually, okay, they definitely. Oh no, never mind. That's not her team. Her second board lost. Third board still playing. Fourth board. Oh, I guess board 4 won. So Jersey board 4, Daisy Carpenter. I think that should be Jersey board 4. Unrated against unrated. Okay. So we have a Slav Catalan kind of thing. Oh. Well, this doesn't generally work, this kind of construction, when white's much better developed, like 1, 2, 3, 4 against one tempo. Okay, we took right away, something you can do, I suppose, but let's say you play a4 instead, and then someone plays this, and then you're just gonna be winning like this. Whereas if you just take right away, like, you're gonna win a pawn, but you could have got a lot more. Could have definitely got a lot more than a pawn. It's also not a pawn that you're gonna be up, it's just a pawn that you're getting back. So not a fan of that, but okay, now we're winning a pawn for real. But definitely okay, a bit against the spirit. And this must be a draw at this point. Actually, oh, we're never mind. Black is Daisy Carpenter's black, so she was completely lost multiple times. Got into this very likely drawn endgame. Although, I mean, it can always be tricky for black, but definitely not tricky for white, so I'm not really sure how black ended up winning. Okay, so this is probably also bad because let's say rook a8, and if we trade off rooks, you're going to be checked. Your king's going to go to a7, and then our queen is on the great diagonal. We're going to play, well, either we're going to play knight e4 check or queen d5. Our queen is going to cover the diagonal, our king is completely safe, and we're just going to push the pawn and win. So white definitely, once again, very much winning. She does play this. King comes to the center. I mean, it shouldn't really help. Oh yeah, queen trade also winning for white. Like just queen trade outside pass pawn shouldn't be too big of an issue. Like, you know. I mean, we do need to maybe keep our pawn for a little while, but we're just going to push our pawns up. Eventually, we're going to give up the pawn, and then, you know, we're going to make black lose a bunch of tempi or push our pawns up. And eventually, when there's enough weaknesses, we're going to move over. Either we're going to push the pawn up until c7 and then run over, or in some way, we're going to, you know, make this happen. We can also maybe just Zugzwang, you know, stalemate the king, and then make black push her pawns and give us a queen. All possibilities in different positions. I'm not sure how exactly this would have turned out, but okay. So white keeps the kings on the queens on the board, slightly, not slightly, a very dubious decision. But still, I don't see how you can lose. Okay, we give up this pawn for this pawn. I wonder, okay, we're still up 2 pawns. I mean, I guess this is a Diana against Rudy sort of situation where the king runs up the board and then, well, I guess in the other case it was the king running up against up the board and getting mated. Here, in this case, I guess white's going pawn grabbing and then getting checkmated. Oh no, that's no, we can't do that. Okay. Wait, what? Not even that. I thought, okay, so I thought what was going to happen is you leave the king on f3 and then you move your queen somewhere and then you get checkmated on the back rank. But in fact, she just took the pawn that was defended and lost the queen. Now that's unfortunate. Yeah, okay, it happens, I suppose. And Rachel Rachel. It's a lot of pawns against the knight, and not very many pawns. So probably white's winning. Oh wait, it is black's move. So we can either do this, try to pick up a pawn, but I mean, imagine we're getting I don't know, man. We go here and pick up the pawns, or do we go here and try to win? Actually, that doesn't make any sense because we're gonna get checked away, so we're gonna go over. I mean, I assume we're just winning the pawns, and then we have like so many millions of pawns against a knight, so white should be winning. Where the Scots playing, I'm not sure. Can look it up, I suppose. Scotland. Scotland were playing against Fiji. Fiji. Okay. Anyway, let's look back actually, because just now I remember that we weren't yet completely done with the Ireland games. Let's see, Lara finishing it off. course, she won. Didn't really doubt it. Okay, so we left it around here. Okay, yeah, nice g4, classy move, breaking up the pawns, taking with check, you know, bring everything back, and just very systematically using your advantage to pick up everything. Now winning a rook, and her opponent resigned. So good job, Laura. That one, actually, as I said, this one is the closest, so she beat 1782. Only about 200 points between them. So that was the potentially closest game of the round. And let's look at Evia. Evia also won. Superb. So another 4-0 for Team Ireland. Perfect. That's the way we like it. And again, we're going to end up with a tougher team tomorrow. Okay, I mean, this is a nice play. Just, oh, and finally, oh no, my pawn, getting the fork. Our opponent was in time trouble. And now we're not only up a bunch of pawns, but also an exchange, and finally our opponent gives it up. She also had 31. Oh no, it's 31. Wait, no, what? It was definitely past move 40, so I don't know how they would have 30 seconds on their clocks. Doesn't really make sense. But okay. Important thing is that it all worked out. 4-0 for Team Ireland. Relatively quick day as well. Good on them. Okay, any other games we would like to look at? So we looked at Lula, we looked at a couple others. Oh, we can look at, for example, Ellen and Team Denmark. Also, I would actually like to look at some of the top boards maybe. So, oh, it's England against India. So that's an interesting matchup. Jovanka against Harika. Draw. Good on Jovanka for holding against the GM. This game is still going. What are we thinking? I mean, probably a draw. When I say probably, I mean, I don't really see white winning. I don't really see white winning this. No, I don't really see it. I definitely don't see it at all. Yao Lan against Tanya Sachdev. Also looking like a draw. Yeah, definitely looking like a draw in the rook end game. And final board. Okay, White's winning here. So that's good. India is beating, the hosts are beating England. Board 4 couldn't hold up. It's unfortunate for the English team, but their top boards did well to hold all the, probably they were all higher rated, I imagine. Yeah, all a little bit higher rated by at least 100 to 200 points. So well done, top 3 boards for England. But okay, wasn't enough in the end. Probably. I mean, game's not technically over, I guess. So Ukraine, Maria Muzichuk, I think she lost yesterday. In a bit of an upset against someone who I don't quite remember who it was. So she lost yesterday. Today it's looking good though. Looks pretty dominating this position. We're also a pawn up. Or was it Anna Muzichuk? I'm not sure. One of them lost anyway. Now today, Anna definitely won already. Close Sicilian. Or rather, no, I mean, okay, Rosalimo. I mean, I guess you still would call a Rosalimo close Sicilian. Okay, so this this d pawn got very feisty very quickly. Interesting. And eventually, oh, that's nice. That's nice. Essentially, you know, skewer, maybe you could call it that, because like in the future, something's gonna have to take it, and then that thing is gonna be skewered. So that's nice. Like a preemptive skewer of sorts. And then she just, she was just a piece up. No trouble. Opponent kept playing for a while there, or throwing in the towel. So Ukraine looking good for a 4-0 maybe, 3-0 at least. Yulia Ozmak. Okay, also looking probably good. I see a pawn, black pawn on b2, so generally a good sign. Also up a pawn. So I assume that's gonna turn out well as well. Poland against, okay, this is, I guess, Armenia against Georgia, maybe, judging by the names. Okay, here they made a draw just as we came in. Nino Batsiashvili won though. He's a very strong player. Maybe it's not Armenia, by the way. I just judged by the name of their first board, but maybe that's not accurate. Because the others don't have the classic Armenian name formula, as far as I can tell. Anyway, okay, here this is Poland against maybe Vietnam or something of the sort. Okay, so this looks dangerous for black, maybe. Pawns are coming, maybe, I don't know. Alina, okay, that looks winning. 2 extra pawns should be enough. Okay, black's up in exchange, but king's in a bit of a corner. The bishop is a bit blocked, but also very strongly controlling the space. Maybe a draw, I don't know. And bottom board, yeah, probably also a draw. And this is France against Italy. Draw on board 1. Win for France on board 2. Sophie Millier on board 3. The engine says this is good for black. Oh yeah, I guess we're just winning the exchange back, and then we have a lot of pressure. Yeah, we're winning the exchange rather. And then, well, no, actually we're not winning the exchange, but never mind. I didn't see the knight there. But okay, I mean, this bishop looks very good. This bishop looks not very good. This pawn looks like it's going to be gobbled up. The rooks look like they're not getting out so well. So yeah, I see black winning this one. And I guess this is also France and winning. So yeah, France beating Italy in that case. I was gonna look for oh yeah, US team. There we go. Rena Krush, another draw. I think she also had a draw yesterday. And now the result just disappeared, but let's check. Okay, yeah. Looks like a repetition. Oh, Carissa Yip lost. I think she already lost yesterday as well. But she already also got a bit roughed up in the US Juniors Championship as well. Not having a great couple of weeks, Carissa. But maybe she can turn it around. Yeah, okay, losing to someone. Well, I mean, it's really only 140 points, but still it's 140 points. So now Tatev is going to have to save it, maybe. Okay, this doesn't look like any winning chances though for white. And actually they have a board one as well, I didn't see that. Just assumed Arena was board one, but actually Tuhir Genova is board one for the US. And here, okay, white's up in exchange, but it's on one side, 3 against 3, and black has another pawn on the queen side. But you might be, threatening to do something to the dark squares. Now, if we ever trade queens, then it's a draw for sure, I would think. I think the bishop and king very easily hold a fortress in this situation, I would guess. So yeah, the US in a bit of trouble. Doesn't look so good. Oh, actually, Toyojanova is also black, so yeah, definitely not winning. Someone thought she was white, but okay, you're definitely not winning this as black, right? So yeah, the US definitely looking like they're gonna lose their match here. Okay, but here we have Germany against Romania, I think. Georgescu? That sounds Romanian. Okay, Lipets against Lena Georgescu, and okay, this looks like a draw. Josefine against Ghazal Hakimifard. Okay, what about this one? Also looks like a draw. Germany also struggling a little bit. Okay, this one, computer immediately tells me that it's plus 10, so I just think that probably a win for Germany in this one. Yeah, and it does make sense. You have 2 pieces for a rook, and the king looks in some deep trouble, black king that is. Also, you have plenty of time. Dinara has loads of time. Actually, is this Romania? Now, they have names that don't give me any hints. Like, the first name sounds Romanian, the second name sounds like, I don't know, maybe Middle East kind of thing. The third name I would personally associate with like Switzerland, and then the third name I would think is French. So actually, maybe it might be Switzerland that they're playing. Let's check if my name guessing skills are. Oh no, wait, that's the wrong one. Let's see if my name guessing skills are on point. Germany is playing against. That's definitely not Romania, we know that much. Oh yeah, it is Switzerland. My goodness, I'm so good. Yes, okay, so it is Switzerland. Thank you for the follow, DK Naidu. DK Naidu. Okay, right. And then there's so many windows open, and fortunately, unfortunately, I have no talent for maneuvering them all on a small screen. So I don't have my second monitor as I usually do, because I'm visiting my parents. Okay, so looks like Germany is gonna win, because here black is also winning. Same situation, well, not same situation, but similar kind of situation where you have two pieces for a rook and the pieces are going to dominate. And especially, okay, the a pawn is going to dominate in this case specifically. This one is actual Armenia now, I think, against Estonia. Oh, Narva, my Narva, I guess, beat Elena Danielian. They were once upon a time doing very well in the. I think Danielian won the European Women's Championship 2021, and my made a bit of a hero run and got very close. Although I think her rating has gone up quite a bit since then. So now it looks like they're pretty close, but back then I think it was not that way. Okay, so she won and 3 draws, so that means Estonia actually beats Armenia. Good, good, good. Now I was gonna look for. Okay, here's Sweden. Yeah, Kremling wins. How about Anna Kremling? Still playing. What do we think about this position? Black is up a pawn. White is very, very cramped and probably lost, I would assume. Let's check the computer, Yes, okay, -6. So it looks like Anna Kremling gonna lose to her higher rated opponent. What does that say about? Okay, Sweden won the top 2 boards. It's gonna lose board 4, no, board 3, and this is board 4, where Sweden's gonna win? Question mark? I mean, White's king looks in a lot of trouble. Is Black's king immediately getting mated? Don't think so. Don't think so. So that looks like Sweden might still take home the win, even though why is that bad luck, Waterford Wizard? Why is that Oh yeah, okay, let's look at Piloslava, our Bulgarian friend. She won. in a Alpine Sicilian. Okay, nice bishop, good endgame. Nice bishop, mean good endgame, yes. Oh, that looks, wow, that's nice. Okay, looks like a clinical one by Boleslava. And that means also Bulgaria 4-0 against whoever they were playing. Okay, let's look at Alan's game. Why is that bad luck though, getting a weak opponent? If you get a weak opponent, then you're gonna win, and then you're gonna get a strong opponent next. I mean, generally speaking, if you're trying to finish highly in the rankings, facing weaker opponents, not the worst thing in the world. Okay, Alan won, apparently. Oh, a London system. Well, thank goodness she dispatched of it. Kind of a Jabava London against G6. Yeah, pieces got into a bit of an awkward position there. Knight gaining chase to h2 and f1. Meanwhile, black's knight coming to d3. Well, that's oh, and the bishop going to h2. I mean, this is yeah, that was real bad. That went really badly for white. Okay, white also was like 400 points outrated, so not too much of a surprise there. But okay, I think. Oh, actually, let's check back on the Irish men's team real quick. So, this is Mark's position. Up a pawn in the rook end game, but this specific one, you know, the king being so active is always a really big asset. And the problem is in this exact configuration with the king up and the pawn covering these squares is eventually you're going to get checked back. Pawn's going to advance and you're going to be on the back rank and things are going to repeat, and then black is going to win. Okay, let's see how the other games went. Alex Paburin won, we already knew that. Tom O'Gorman won, we already knew that. And Tarun also finished off the game. So we're going to have a 2-4-0s for Ireland today. So we had 8 points scored collectively on the first day. Then we had 1.5, 2.5 points yesterday, so 10.5, and now 8 again today, so 18.5 points out of possible 24. That seems too low. Was it actually 18.5? It was 4 and 4. Yeah, 18.5, yeah. So I think that's correct. 18.5 points scored out of 24. Not bad at all by Team Irlando. Not dropping any easy points, which is always good, because eventually you're going to probably end up on a tie break with some countries, and then match points are going to decide. And I think there's technically also like a team ranking. So let's see how Tarun finished it off real quick. I mean, these rooks were just beautiful. Oh, that's nice. So we were saying earlier, as I was saying earlier, there are some mating motifs. If the knight ever moves, right? Like, you know, knight f5 check and then mate, or a knight e6 check and then mate. So he actually just, you know, forces the issue, threatening rook takes f7. Can't really be prevented. So, and if, you know, knight takes h5, we force the knight away. We do exactly what we planned for the other time. We can like go, you know, here, and that's going to be checkmate. So instead, black went knight to g8, but I mean, okay, it doesn't take too much to see that this is not going to be holding. Rook a7, or okay, bishop g6 also works, supporting. Actually, I don't know why this works better, because I guess if you move the king, if you move the rook, you're also not threatening rook h6 anymore. So yeah, but here you're threatening rook h7. If the knight moves, if the knight moves too far, we're gonna actually back rank mate you. So definitely gonna be a checkmate in not many more moves, and black resigned. All right, so that's it for me, I think. You looked. Oh, actually, we have one more person. She's not on this one. Valentina, another friend. So one more chance. Okay, looks like she lost. Oh, against the 1700, she won't be happy about that. Okay, let's see. Sicilian, classical. Okay, classical English attack kind of setup. Ongoing quickly. Probably good for black at this point. Again, like white didn't get the attack going yet at all. Okay, Lee just tells me that this is already still a theoretical position, more or less, as in like it has been played in 7 games, with knight b4 being the move. Queen a5 apparently not so good. Okay, now white is trying to start an attack. Okay, a bunch of trades. Oh my. Wait a minute. Okay, we're not trapping rook, okay. Or are we? Are we trapping it eventually? Like the rook certainly doesn't have anywhere to go. I mean, maybe it's enough to keep it there. Now the rook could move to e3, but like, no great shakes, and also could retreat. But now, in the meantime, white is starting a nice attack and sort of ripping open the space with the bishops coming in. Oh, and finally hitting the bishop and check, and that unfortunately doesn't work because well, not only do we have this and checkmating, but also we could play it here and won the rook, but we could also play here and win the rook, or rook g1 is also checkmate. Right click. Like, where do you do? What 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 do you do? So, yeah. I guess you can block one time or two times. I don't know. But yeah. So that is Valentina's game. Tough loss. Bit unfortunate. Okay. Anyway, my voice, as you can hear, anyway, is a little bit on the dying side now. Persistence at its peak. Well, persistence at my peak at least. Anyway, that's it for me for today, unless anybody has any content wishes, which you won't have. I decided that you can't have any content wishes. Unfortunately, I can't do raids anymore because oh, Diana's game, sure, I can show the ending. Sure. Okay. The quick rundown. So at some point, like here, we were a bit, amused that Diana, she played this, but actually, didn't see queen g4 or queen f6 beforehand, so she had to figure it out. Actually, kind of blundered. Probably she had a bit of a panic attack there. But okay, after that, still everything was winning. So smooth sailing, and now h6 to guarantee mate on rook e6. Next move. So yeah, that was Diana's game. Okay, that was also, I've executively decided the last content request for the day. And yeah, so Ireland 4040 today. Good job, everyone. Unfortunately, it's proving a bit difficult. Like, we had a plan to do interviews and stuff, but there's very limited internet available at the venue. I guess, it's not completely unsensible. I guess you don't really need too much internet in a chess playing hall. So if anything, we would have to wait until they're back at the hotel, which is gonna take like an hour ride, and then they have to wait, and also maybe they're waiting for their teammates and all that. So yeah, maybe not optimal. Also tonight is, I think, some sort of Bermuda party. I don't know if that means that tomorrow's a rest day, or if that doesn't actually mean anything. Don't know how these chess players' minds work. So yeah, that's that, and I think that's it for today. And I'll see you maybe tomorrow, unless there's a rest day, and I won't see you tomorrow. But I mean, I think they should have a couple more rounds before they have a rest day. They need to do some work to earn it. Yes. Anyway, that's it. I'll see you next time. I'm sorry that I can't raid anyone because my computer crashed, for anyone who missed it. My computer crashed earlier, and then I got logged out of Twitch. Or at least Tuesday night. Okay, maybe that's possible. I thought it was tonight for some reason. Anyway, okay, and that's good. I'll see everyone tomorrow. Goodbye.